We all know that the constant blackouts is getting us all down, but just how serious is this on our mental health? Well, the South African Depression and Anxiety Group has collaborated with the University of Johannesburg to identify how people are coping or not coping with these constant power cuts. Respondents reflected on their fears and their feelings about the constant darkness and how it's impacting their daily lives. Fascinating research. Let's speak to Sadag Development Manager Fatima Seedat joining us this morning. Hello to you, Fatima. It was only a matter of time until somebody was going to look at the mental wellness of all of us with these blackouts. It's devastatingly annoying, but how bad is it for our mental health? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us on. It is, intuitively, load shedding has had an impact on all of us in a greater spectrum of things. And what Sadag wanted to do is actually find out how does it affect your mental health and know the specific detail on how it affects it. So research went into find out these specifics, but also it will give us more insight so that we can then tailor-made make our own services so we can create a better support system for people that are going through a lot of anxiety, depression due to the load shedding in a place where, mental health services are so scarce.
As well, because those support services are so important when you do research like this and you do these sort of surveys to try and figure out how to help people. We'll get to the support services in a moment, Fatima. So what were the kind of questions being asked? What were people saying? How were they feeling about these blackouts?
We asked basic questions about how does the load shedding make you feel, and then we used a scale called the Kessler stress scale, just to measure the actual, the actual feelings and emotions people go through. And a lot of people and respondents that got back to us, they spoke about the actual impact of how load shedding sort of breaks the regulation within their system. So your mental health needs a sort of building blocks so that you can keep well. So you have to follow certain type of schedule, how to go through, your day-to-day activities. Often people with mental health have to also, mental health conditions have to go through, your day-to-day, having a good meal, having sleeping well, so that you feel better at the end of the day for the next day. And load shedding sort of dysregulated all of that and made them feel highly overwhelmed.
Yeah, people are creatures of habits, aren't they? And we don't like our routines being upset. And I remember having a discussion with an expert a couple of months ago who said that if we had load shedding at the same time every day, at least we'll be able to change our schedule and sort of shift our mindset. But because it's so inconsistent, we're all very much out of our routine. So I would agree with the statement. And then I want to talk about the solutions you were suggesting, because it's great to have these questions answered, great to have these conversations. What does an organization like Sadag do with this? How do you now frame some kind of support structure?
So what we've been doing is unpacking all the results that we've been getting. With the results, we now look at suggestions on how to cope better with the different things that make you feel overwhelmed or make you feel anxious. So what we've been doing is collecting different ideas and different manners of how to then, different coping strategies. So, for example, if you're having load shedding, let's say between 10 and 12, how will you use that time? And we're trying to then suggest, okay, we all need some, screen downtime. So during that period, what can we do? Maybe we are at work and we don't have electricity, your laptop batteries die. What are the other things you can do to help you just catch up on your day so you do not feel overwhelmed that there is work that's being left? And, you can sort of sit down at that time and then plan your day ahead. Or what other things can you do? If you are at home during load shedding, what are the different activities that you can do? Also, we do realize that load shedding does bring a lot of anxiety levels, especially if the electricity doesn't come back on time. So how do you deal with anxiety? So sort of like putting together breathing techniques, or how to deal with the actual anxiety that you're going through, encouraging people to use that time to go for exercise, because that's going to help you, with your mental health. It's highly beneficial as well.
It really is, and I'm taking a look at the Sadag website as well, S-A-D-A-G, sadag.org, and I see you've got all the links there for support groups, what to do about depression, panic, anxiety, trauma, etc., and I'm sure that this research will make its way onto your website. It's fascinating. I knew somebody was eventually going to do a formal look at a link between the blackouts, anxiety, and depression in our country, and I'm so glad you've done it along with the University of Johannesburg. Fatima, thank you very, very much. It's always lovely to talk to your organisation. So important. Sadag Development Manager Fatima Seedat joining us here on eNCA.